In Module 3, Section 2, we're going to start off with looking at ordered pairs or points that we have here and try to determine what the value of each point is. So let's take a look at 3 of these, and then I want you to do the other 2 on your own. But E is, notice here we always do the x first, so it would be negative 4, 0. So E would be negative 4, 0. G, which is this one right here, notice that G is all the way up here, so it would be 0 because x is 0 here, and then 4, so it would be 0, 4. And then H, which is located down here, would be, we go to the x value first. Notice that 3 is here, so it would be 2.5, and then down to negative 3.5. So 2.5, 3.5. So 2.5, negative 3.5. So that's what we would have for those points. Okay, so all they're doing is just making sure that you know some of these and configure that. So negative 4, 0, 0, 4, 2.5, negative 3.5. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So for today's vocabulary, we're going to learn a few terms. So first one is what is a function? So a function is a relation, which of course is a bunch of points, where each element in the domain, so every x, is paired with one element in the range. So what's important about that definition, as I've kind of simplified it, really a function is for every x, there is only one y. So no matter what, for every single value of x in the entire function, I could only have one y value. And then function notation looks something similar to this. So if you are looking at function notation, if this is my equation, y equals 3x plus 2, always solving for y, that's always what we do when we're dealing with an equation. All I'm doing is just replacing y with f of x. It just means the same thing. This is not, now starts getting a little confusing because you're learning that parentheses is multiplication. This is not multiplication. That says a function of x is equal to 3x plus 2, and this says y is equal to 3x plus 2. These two mean the exact same thing. Okay, and then one more that I want to throw in is this thing called the vertical line test. And the vertical line test is a means to be able to check to see if a function, to see if the equation is a function. So if I draw, here's my line, okay, not the vertical line, but here's my line, my equation. And here are the axes. Here's my x-axis and my y-axis. If I draw a vertical line anywhere in the function, if it touches the function more than once, or touches the line or the equation more than once, then it is not a function. If the vertical line only touches the equation once at any point in the line, then it is a function. Okay, so we're going to talk about the vertical line test in a minute. And here it is. Vertical line test. And so what's important about this vertical line test is that we use that to be able to check it. So notice here we have a line, which is f of x equals negative 2x plus 5. Negative 2 is telling me it has a slope going down. We're going to learn slopes and everything else later on. So that means it's going down. If I look at here, if I have my vertical line, notice it crosses at one point. Okay. So I can keep checking and seeing, okay, is it only going to cross at one point no matter what, where I go? Yes, it is. So let's go to the next one. So that means that relation 1 is a function. Relation 2, notice if I draw a vertical line anywhere, it will only cross at one point as well. And on a parabola, it still keeps expanding to the right and to the left. And so a vertical line's only ever going to go through one point. So that is a function too. So g of x is a function. Circle, however, if I draw a vertical line, notice it goes through this point and it goes through this point. So it goes through 2 points. This is not a function. Here is another line. Just because it has decimals, it's still a line, only goes through 1 point. So relation 4 is a function. Relation 5 is a parabola that's on its side. Notice, though, if I draw a vertical line, it goes through 2 points. It is not a function. So far, 3 and 5 are not functions. And then finally, for 6, notice I have a horizontal line. And with a horizontal line, if I draw a vertical line, it only goes through it one time. So therefore, relation 6 is a function. So far, only 3 and 5. And now we look at 7. This is what is known as an absolute value. We haven't talked about absolute values yet, but in an absolute value, it is a function. Okay, so only 3 and 5. Hold on. Yeah, 3 and 5 so far are not functions. Okay, notice this one here. This is, even though it looks like it's getting really close to going straight up and down, it actually isn't. If I were to expand this out, it would be a little bit away from the axes. So this is a function. Okay, so that is a function. So if we look at all the exercises, it says which ones are functions. We know that the only ones that are not is 5 and 3. So it'd be 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. Okay, so we know that is. And then on exercise 2, what did you notice about the relations we decided were functions? That they only cross the equation one time. Okay, and that's really what we see up in there. So let's see what they said on the answer. And we're looking at it. Each function has x values that correspond to only one y value. And I kind of said it. So you can look at this graph and use the vertical line test. Okay, and that's what we're looking at in this case. I'm going to move on to the next video because I don't want to make this one too long. So we're looking at the vertical line test on this one.